going to be making this bouquet, finger knit bouquet. So you'll need a color for this bottom part, at least half a skein, so 20 yards. You'll need like a brown for the base or whatever color you want to make your base. You're not going to need very much of that, you know, a quarter of a skein, so like 7 yards, plenty. And then depending on what kind of flowers you want to do and what colors, depends on the yarn you would use. So I made little roses. This is mine, so I'm going to show you how to do those. These ones too are the roses. And then the different leaves. I've got 2 different types of leaves that I've done. And then these daisies, these are from Cozy Cloud Knits tutorial. So that's on YouTube as well. So I'm going to show you the base and then this part. And then you just add the flowers on top and the leaves, all your details. So a row counter is handy, your yarn, of course, polyfill to stuff it, scissors, a lighter to light off ends and things like that, and then stitch markers are always handy. This bouquet, I'm going to be doing a bit of a purple theme, I guess. My mom's favorite color is purple, so this would be one I would make for her. So starting with our yarn, you want to leave, you know, an 8-inch tail. We're going to be creating a slip knot by taking your working yarn over the tail side, pull up a loop through that yarn, and pull tight by pulling on the tail side of the yarn and adjust the loop with the working side. I do like to keep mine pretty tight with a 2 fingers width. And we're just going to be chaining on 4 in total, so the first one counted as 1, so you want 4. Like so. Now, if you want to make your circle and knit in a counterclockwise, you take your tail up, put it down through the top part of that loop. I'm going to go this way for clockwise knitting. Make sure you don't twist your chain, and then you're going to need to adjust this first loop so it's smaller, and so the working yarn is coming over this way. So 1 finger's width, and you're just going to pull up 2 more loops in those outside chain spaces. And then to keep it nice, easy, I take my tail down through the middle, out of the way. This one, because this circle is so tight, we don't really have to worry off closing up. Have to close off too much. We're just going to take this tail and weave it back and forth to close it off. Okay. So now that counts as row 1, round 1. I'm going to use my stitch marker. I always use my stitch marker in my first stitch of the round. So this next one we're just going to knit 3, those 3 loops. That's round 2. Round 3, we're going to knit increase 3 times, so we'll end up with 6 loops. So we knit through 1, then we increase in between the 2 loops, knit 1, and then increase again. And last time, landing, ending on an increase. You can close up your bottom at any time. It's round 3. So now for the next 4 rounds, we're going to be just knitting those 6. So we'll end up on round 7 when we're done. Next round we're going to be knitting 2 and then an increase, so we're going to end up with 9 loops. Now we're going to knit around 9 for 2 rounds. And then we're going to knit increase on this round, so then we'll end up with 18 loops. Now we're going to just take, and we're going to close this off. Cast off, I guess. So pull up 2 bigger loops, and then take the first one over the second one. And then I'm gonna go into the inside, or actually the inside. Pull up a loop, cross over. So we have this 1 loop left. Gonna cut my yarn pretty close, still enough that I can pull it through this last loop. And then I'm going to cut it so I have enough to burn and join another color there. So this is where I'm going to add in my brown. Make sure you get the middle cord melted if you need to cut away some of the fuzz around it. So we want to create a nice around the bouquet, so we're not pulling up loops in these two. We want to leave the V's. You can see that. We want to go just inside right there and pull up a loop. So then you shouldn't be able to see it from the outside of the bouquet either. So there should be one of those for every V, so we should be pulling up 18. And then last one. There. Now we're going to knit increase or knit decrease around. So knit 1, left over right, knit 1, right over left, and just keep repeating that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're just going to knit around those 12. The last round, again, knit 1, decrease, left over right, knit 1, decrease, right over left, 1, left over right, 1, right over left. Tied in a knot there. Get out of here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we're going to cut our yarn long enough to close off the top ones. Now you can close off your loops after you stuff or before. I close them off because I have a habit of pulling my loops through while I'm stuffing. Just don't pull it super tight. And of course close off the bottom. I'm just going to take the yarn tail kind of across and then back across. Anchor it to a stitch. Tuck away the end. And now I'm going to go and stuff mine and we'll close it. This is about what mine looks like right now. Kind of looks like maybe an ice cream cone. I'm just going to pull that tight now that it's stuffed. So this is a little bit above so that you can put your flowers and things all the way around. So just anchor it off at the top. So like I said, I've made a whole bunch of these flowers. This is Cozy Cloud Knits little flower you can find on her YouTube page. So I made pre-made a bunch of these that I will tie on. For the rose, it's kind of the same as my rose garland. So I'm just taking my yarn, leave enough that you can have a tail to tie your flower on. Create your slip knot. Then chain however many you want, however big of a flower. This one I'm going to chain 5. And then just move this up this way, like that. And you can either crochet back or just cast off. So I'm going to take this first loop over the second loop. I think these ones are nicer because they don't have quite as bulky of a bottom. And you could also make your leaves this way. So I have another tutorial, it's hollyberry and leaves, and I make my leaves very similar this way. So this would just be a green leaf. I would cut the yarn tail, pull it through, tie them together and tie it on, and there's a leaf. But we're going to make a rose. So we cut our yarn tail, pull it through, and you can choose whichever side you want to be out. So this is a single sided chain there. So if you close it, that's what it's going to look like. Whereas if you flip it, you'll get the braided side, and then you close it and that's what it's going to look like. So whichever one you want to do, just take your tails, go through the opposite side. This is why you want to leave enough, because then whichever side you want to be the top, then take this yarn tail and weave it down to the bottom so it can help attach it to the bouquet. So then move them both to the bottom. And then I'll show you, take your bouquet wherever you want to attach your rose, find a stitch, go on either side like that, take one yarn tail, go from the outside to inside, and do the same thing on that stitch, coming up in the same space. Now tie these two ends together very, very, very tightly. Try not to break your yarn though. If you pull too tight, some will break. You can trim it. And then just tuck those yarn tails back down in that space. So this is definitely a trust the process. It's going to look a little funny, especially if you're just doing roses at first. When you start adding in the leaves and the little daisies, it can be really, really cute. So if you want to make a bigger rose, just make your chain bigger. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. I don't think I want to go much bigger than 7, just because this is a pretty big base, or pretty small base compared to that one. And this. All the way back. And again, if I was doing this in green, this can also be a leaf. I'm not going to leave it enough. There we go. So that would be the end of the leaf, and then I would just attach it on wherever. But we're going to make a flower. I want this side out. So I'm just going to take find where I want to put it. I could also that. So I have these other leaves. This was a tutorial on Instagram. There was just a little clip from Bernard Yarn. I've showed it a couple times. This is also on my garland. And the rose, the individual rose one, I'm using this. This is what I have close by. So to make a leaf, you would just take this, create a loop. It's a little big. And then you go into the inside and to the outside. Pull it tight, not too tight that you change the shape of it. Handy later come. Handy later. Burn the end, secure it somewhere in your leaf. And then again, I would take it to my bouquet. Find somewhere I want it to be. And attach it. And then tuck away the end. So I probably made a lot of these guys, but yeah, the more, the better it looks, and the more colors. So we'll see. I'm gonna put this into hyper focus or hyper speed while I finish attaching the rest of these flowers. this is my finished product. You can always fluff your flowers. Sometimes it gets to be a little bit rough making them all fit. But yeah, this is definitely something my mom would like. Pretty purple.